I'll take the attendance. So please ask your friends to log in. My presentation is visible. Yes, students, someone can respond. Okay, thanks, Kavya. I'll start with the first module, second module, OOMD links and associations. I have little bit of topic left. Anyway, your internals has been postponed. Are you? I hope you are all. You know that you've got that information. HOD ma'am has sent in the group. Yes, you all people know, right? Yeah, it has been postponed. But you can complete your assignments today. After this, since the portions are complete, I will tell you the answers also, discuss the answers also. You can finish writing your assignments. You need not have to wait till the end. Okay, let's begin. I will do a recap of what we did in the last class, and then you can continue with today's session. Okay. Okay. We started with the OOMD. What is class? What is object? What is object orientation? Right? And the three different models. So last class what we studied was what is an object and what is a class, and how do I represent this using models. Okay, so an object is nothing but a concept. It can be either a physical entity which has existence or not. So it is a concept or a thing which has an identity and that has a meaning for an application. So any real-time entity which you can identify in your software is known as an object. Let me record. Let the recording start. So all objects have an identity and are distinguishable. Okay, an object, a group of related objects can be grouped together to form a class. So we say an object is nothing but an instance of a class. Next thing what we studied about, how can we represent these using models. So most of you have done your, some of you have sent to my WhatsApp group and as well as my email ID, the class diagram and object diagram for the student and faculty class. See, uh, the thing was, what I observed in all of your cases was all of you know what to do, okay, and how it is. But what you were doing is you were just trying to uh, I can say, like certain things like underlining, diagrams, that's question mark and all. Those things you were missing. I don't know whether you it was a laziness or you thought it is fine. Please understand, whenever you're writing these object diagrams and class diagrams or any diagrams in OOMD, you cannot miss those terminologies. Ma'am, instead of hyphen, here for example, in objects, Okay, there is a colon, right? There is a person class, the name of the class is person, and you give the attributes. See, if you give here, yeah, the third picture here, I have person, and then I have name and date and all, and then I have this change or something like that, right? And similarly, this also I have. There are three classes, right? See, some of you have not put those lines. After class, there is one line, person class. Okay, then there is attributes, and after that, there is another class. Fine. So some of you have missed it. See, maybe it was like, why not required? See, but that is not possible for you. I mean, whenever you're representing it in your exam or anywhere you're giving a diagram, see, it means that it is incomplete or wrong. So, even though it sounds like it is not required or understandable, you cannot do it. You should have that lines properly, and it is whether the type is character or a string, all that should be given. The other thing, that is the one thing which you missed in class diagram. In object diagram, what you did was the underlining of the object that you had not done. See, the Joe Smith colon person, that is underlined, right? You should do that. If not, it is not understood that it is object, right? So you have to follow those. And after that person name, there is a colon. Yes, there should be a colon. You cannot put a hyphen instead of it, or you cannot put equal to there. Are you getting my point? Similarly, while you're giving values to the attributes here, attribute name, data type is equal to so and so, there also you have to use equals. There you cannot use hyphen. That is the mistake most of you have done now. Otherwise, I think all of you know the concept, but maybe it was a mistake unknowingly, or you thought it is fine, you need not have to bother about that syntax. See, while programming, instead of semicolon, if you give a dot, will your program work? No, right? You will give errors. Similarly, in these diagrammatic representations also, you should follow the syntax. Actually, I asked you to write, but nowadays you have tools to come up with diagrams like this. You give your input and it will give you the class diagram, object diagram automatically for you. So there are OOMD tools which will do, but still you should know the terminology, how to use it. Okay. So because all of you who have sent have made those one or two tiny mistakes, that is the reason I thought, rather than typing and sending messages for everyone, I thought I will tell this. Actually, I checked all messages and all your snapshots what you have sent. All of them had this minute mistakes. Okay, anything else you want to ask in that? No, can I go further? Next topic. Any doubts in that, you can ask me. No doubts. At least tell no doubts. Okay, fine. We finished with class diagram, object diagram. Then what is value? A value associated with the attribute. Then we have operations and methods. All that. Okay. Then we came with link and association. I said a link is a physical or conceptual connection among objects. Yes, sir. Please, those who are coming and going, please log into the class. Please, it's very distracting. Logging in and logging out like that. So, what is this link? A link is a physical or a conceptual connection among objects. See, I came up with one class called student, I came up with a class called faculty. Now, there is a link between the classes. Yes, how do you show that link? There, we can show that link through lines here. So a class diagram will always have a link, so which shows a physical connection among objects. I'm sorry, in the objects, I'm sorry, in the object diagram. And association is nothing but the description of what that link is or what that connection is. So this association tells me what is the type of the group or the group of that links which have a common structure or semantics can be known as an association. So link is physical, where an association is a group of links which have a common structure or semantics. Okay. So I told you last class what I gave example was there is a student class, there is an student object and there is a faculty object. I can link the class of the student with the faculty is a student of or learns something like that. See here I have person, right? Instead of that I can have student, here I can have faculty, then I can say student learns and from the faculty. That is, this is the link, and what is that link gives us, that is the association. So owns stock is an association, or in my case example learns is an association. This is the link. Okay, so here you can see person is associated with a company. How is he associated? Now he can be an employee, he can be works for, or he can say he's a contractor or something like that, right? So what this association shows how he is related. In this case, the person owns a stock with that company. That is what it means. So owns stock is the association between the person and the company. I can give another association, employee. The person is an employee with that company. Okay, like this, there can be n number of links, and on that is associated with a some type of conceptual connection. Next thing is, you see the star here, right? What does that star mean? It means multiplicity. It shows the multiplicity. Okay. It specifies the number of instances of one class that may relate to a single instance of a associated class. That is, how many instances of one class are related to the how many instances of the other class, that is given by this multiplicity. Okay, ma'am, I did not understand your definition. Okay, don't understand. Let's see the example. See, every country, there is a country class. Agreed? This is a class or an object? Yes, this country here is a class or an object. How do you identify? Yes, students, I need an answer. Okay, how did you get that? Because it is a rectangle here with the name. There is no underlining or hyphen or colon. That's why you know it is a class. So both of them are classes, but this rectangle here, that is here Canada colon country. So this you can make it as an object. Yes and no, because there is a colon, it has been underlined, so you can say it is an object. So did you get why you should follow the syntax? See, if you had not written it like that way, how will the user know whether it is an object, whether it is a country, or what you're trying to convey? So you have to follow the syntax. Okay. So I have this country here. Now let's say it has only one attribute by name. And there is another class here, capital city. And it also has one attribute called name. Now the country and the capital city are related. That is, the country has capital and the association name is has a capital. So every country has a capital, and that is both are linked through that. Now, this multiplicity says how many instances of this country are related to how many instances of this one. Okay, so it means that one country is related with one capital city. Did you get that? So one here means one instance of this. Okay, so one country is associated with one capital city. So in object diagram, you can make out country name is Canada. See, this is the attribute. Name is the attribute and value associated with it is Canada. So Canada is associated with the capital city. The name is nothing but Ottawa. Yeah. So similarly, France is associated with Paris here. So one country is associated with one capital city. So that is what this one and one means here. Okay. It can also be something like this. Let's say, for example, person and own stock. Now, star means any number of instances. Okay. So, star means any number. It may not be one, multiple. So, we say multiple people are associated with multiple companies. So the person can be any one or any number, and that person can be associated with a n number of companies. Did you get that? So it means that I can have n number of persons here. What happens if I give 1 year? This place, I don't know. Can you show? Can you see the cursor? Where am I pointing to? No, right? 1 second. Ha. Let me check whether you can see. No, you cannot see that. Oh God. Understood. Please let me know. So here, so I have one. Okay, 1 year in person and star here. So it means that one person has associated or own stock of n number. Star means n, any number. So n number of companies. What if I say this as this also as one instead of star? Can you tell me? What if I had given 1 year also? Yeah, okay, Aditya Raj. If I'd given 1 year and 1 year, what does it mean? One person is associated with one company. Yes, one person is related to one company. It means that one person, what is that relation? Owns stock. Yes, one person owns stock of one company. See, ma'am, it is not correct. It can be n companies. See, it will depend upon how you are going to design it or what your application wants. Okay. So this is how it is. If I can change it like this also, can you tell me what does this mean now? Can you see my screen first of all? I think you cannot see. Okay, 1 second. Because it got changed. That's the reason. 1 second. Anagashri, I think you have on your video. Okay. One second, guys. Okay. So what does this mean? One person is associated with one dot dot five I have told. What does this mean? Yes. Thanks. Here, instead of star, I have given 1 dot dot 5. It means that 1 to 5. Okay. So one person can own either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, inclusive of 5. 5 stocks of this company. So here it means that 1 to 5. Okay. So one person can own either own stocks up to 5 companies. See, it may not be 5. He may own one, he may own two, he may be associated with three, excuse me, four or five. Did you get it? All of you? Don't worry too much about it because you have this in your next syllabus, whatever when you are learning OOMD, you will have. Only thing is you have to know how much, little bit, 4 or 5 lines about it, and you should be able to reproduce it in your exam. Okay. So this is, so the relationship can be many to many, means if there is star to star, it means that it is many to many. If it is 1 and 1 year, that kind of association, it is 1 year and it is 1 year, it is called one to one association. If it is 1 year and it is star year, it is called one to many associations. Like that, these associations are of one to many to one, many to many, or like that. Okay. Am I clear with this? All of you? See here, this is one to one association. If it is for star and star here, it is known as many to many association. Okay. So if I've given 3 to 5, it means that it can be either 3, 4 or 5. See, I am a faculty, right? If it is faculty here and student here, then I will say I am a faculty from starting from 1 dot dot 90, because I am teaching USN 1 to 90, right? Like that, section or student name association I can give and say like that. Okay. Can I continue? Similarly, there is 0 to 1 multiplicity or 1 to 0 to 1 multiplicity. Yes, okay, from this side they have taken. See, one workstation can have a 0, has a association name is console. Okay, so a workstation can or cannot have a console window, right? So we say one workstation can have 0 window or it can have 1 window. So it is given here. Similarly, this is for class diagram. If it is an object diagram, instead of a class, we have an object, that is class name, and an object name here, which is having an underline and here. Okay. So this part here. So this is the class. I'm sorry, object name, and that belongs to that class, and that link name is also underlined. Okay. So now We know that there is an association. The association can have end names. That is, here in case of I'll take this one, it'll be a little complicated. Let's take here. Person is one person, works for a company. Okay. Here, star and zero one. What does it mean? Works for. So, n number of people can work for. I mean, they may be unemployed and they are not working for any of the company, or they are working but not for a company, or they may be working for one of the company. Now, what is the name of the association? The name of the association is works for. So, a person works for a particular employee company. But here, what does this association both ends? I can give a name. Here, a person who works, I can give him as an employee, and the company for which he is working, I can give a name called as employer. So, this is known as association end names. Okay. So, if a student and a faculty, I can give a learns for. You can give any name, student 1 or USN third sem students, and faculty, computer science faculty, something like that. So you can give association in names here. Or you can say, ma'am, this person only is fine. Here I can give for a student faculty, DSATM student, DSATM faculty, something like that. So this association at each end of that link can be, the each class can be given a name. Okay. So that is known as association ending names. This is the association. One end has an, this association name is works for, and the end names are at here and here. Did you get it, all of you? So in the above example, you have class is user, directory is user. Okay, I'm sorry, other class is directory. So association name they have not given. Okay, here I can gives owns, user owns a directory. So the user can be two things. As a owner, he can be fine, and he can be an authorized user. See, there is a directory. Directory can be accessed by lots of people. One is an owner, and the other is any person who has an authorization. So both of them I can display it like this. So here you have a owner can own. So can you tell me what does this mean? Owner, and the top link here. I'll explain one. Okay. What does it mean? Can you someone says? User directory. One user can have star means n directories. Okay. One user has n directories. I can also say n number of users can have n number of directories. So in this case, the association name is owns. User owns a directory. Here, user uses, I can say, as an association name. This is naturally right. A single directory cannot be owned by two people. So one owner owns n directories. And here I can say n users use n directories, star and star. You want to change, you can change. Did you get this? So association name here is owns. Association name here is uses. Sorry. Yeah. See here, association end name here, it is not given. At this block here, you don't have association end name here. But here you have got this, an authorized user as the end name. And here you have owner as the end name. You need some time to understand, okay? Similarly, a directory contains, here actually a directory can in turn contain subdirectories, right? That is the reason there is a loop here. A directory in turn contains a directory with zero or more files. I'll give you 2 minutes. You can go through that diagram. Only thing you have to get to know is the association can have end names because they may be related in more than one way. Here, always it is only one type of. In this example, the second example, what I have typed, it is only one thing, employee and employer. But in the above, what I have copy and pasted snapshot, there are two kinds of relationship. That's why who is the end name or the user there matters. It's not mandatory, but sometimes it might be required. You can go through that, and if you have any doubts, excuse me, you can ask. Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes for that. Okay, guys, can I continue? If you have any doubts, let me know. No? Fine? Okay, at least respond. I will know whether you're sleeping or you're understood. Here, the association names can be sequences. Okay? Okay. So, one example they have given there is an itinerary and an airport. Okay. So, your itinerary may involve multiple airports. Maybe you're traveling to more than one country or via some other country you're traveling up. So it cannot be one name, but you can be more than one. So in those cases, the sequences can be given. Suppose you're traveling to from US to India and you're traveling through Dubai Airways or something, Kuwait or Saudi or something like that, you are giving two or three places there. So the sequence gives, you can have over the association a sequence of them. Fine. And then it is also possible to have a ordering of them also, that is one after the other, which comes first, which comes second, so that is also possible. So here this is the sequence, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so this sequence, this association and can take instead of one value a sequence of values. Okay, and those sequence of values can be ordered or not ordered. You can just give the cities what you are visiting, airport cities. Suppose you are visiting in some order, right? First this country, second that country, airport, that also can be given. So this sequence here, association end names, can be a sequence, and that sequence can be either ordered or not ordered. Okay. Next, you have association classes. You know, I said person works for a particular company. Now, works for is a name of the association. This can be a class. That is, it can have its own attributes and functions. So, works for, if it is what is the salary, what is the job title, which location, all that can be here, right? Works for. So, that is, associations can itself be classes which is having attributes, values, and methods. Fine. For example, a person owns stock company. I gave that example, right? In that own stock, you can have attributes like how much quantity does it have. Okay. 10 stocks, 200 stocks, or whatever stocks it is. So anything about those stocks, he can have the data there. If it is a simple association, you will not have a class, but if it is a complex association, then you will have an association class. So this association itself can be a class. That is, I'm talking about here. Or 1 second, guys. So this part. So this is the association class. You just previously wrote the association name works for, but now you can represent it as a class. The name of the class is works for. What are the attributes? Salary and job title. Am I clear? Any doubts? Next, you have something known as qualified associations. Let's say, for example, what are the two classes here and what is the association? Can someone tell? What is the multiplicity? Okay. What are the two classes in this diagram? Yes, guys, fast reply. Bank and account. Okay, Ananya, good. Bank and account. So, what is the multiplicity? How many instances of bank are dealing with how many instances of so it means that one bank can have zero or one account. Okay, fine. So one bank can have, yeah, one instance of bank is dealing with zero or one instance of an account. Yes, agreed. Now, how does this association, is there linked by a unique ID, or how is there a unique thing between this association that is given by this qualified association? So an account number is a unique thing between the bank and the account. So this account number is known as a qualified association. It is actually a unique link between the two classes. So a qualified association is an association in which an attribute called qualifier disambiguates the object for a many association end. So this Qualified association acts as a unique attribute between the two associations. In this case, account number is a unique thing between the bank and the account. In case of student and in case of student and faculty or student and college, what can I say is the unique thing which identifies a student and a college? Yes, USN, your student ID. Okay. Most of the times you need, I mean, it is not a compulsory thing, but most of the times you will have an um, qualified association actually. This qualified association will actually be an attribute of a particular class. So actually this account number is nothing but associated with an account or something like that, right? So it will be an attribute, a property. Okay with this? Yeah. See, next class you have something known as generalization and inheritance. I've taught you inheritance, but still there is one or two examples in your okay. There is only one topic, generalization and inheritance. I'll I think actually I could have done, but I did not paste it in my PPT, thinking that I will not be able to find time. Okay. Anyway, since you're 1 second. So I think one more class I will do inheritance and generalization. That will finish your second module. Meanwhile, because many of you were asking me to discuss, and many of you are sending me assignments also. See, the problem was if I think one of the student has sent. See, the problem is if I tell one person to write this, and again for 90 students I have to tell what is correct or wrong. That's why I just waited so that I can explain answers for all the questions in the class today. Okay, shall I do that for 15 minutes and then I will leave you? Is it fine? Okay, thanks. Okay, the first question is what is software. Now I want everyone to write it down. If you make these mistakes and tell, ma'am, you have not seen my assignment properly, I've written the same thing. I've written what I have written. See, today I'm going to tell you frankly. If I get the answer, ma'am, in the assignment book I have written, you have corrected it. So the same thing I've written, you have to give me full marks. Maybe while correcting 90 or 120, I would have missed those points to tell you. But what I'm telling now is the foremost thing that you should remember while writing these answers in your internals or your exams. If you don't write this, you will not get full marks. So remember this. And don't come to me telling, I have written in my assignment, you have corrected, give me marks. You come to me with that answer, I'm going to give you zero for that. Okay, fine. You can ask me at any time what is the correct answer for this. I will tell you. But you write something, how can this be, and come up with nonsense questions, I'm not going to entertain it. Okay? Listen to carefully. What is the correct answers? The first question is what is software engineering and explain software engineering code of ethics. Now, all of you take a sheet of paper and write down what has to be written. I'm not going to tell you the answers in the textbook and in the notes where it is, I'm going to tell you. That's it. See, in the textbook, there is a table with all the definitions. What is software engineering? You will write that as well as in the slide, as well as in the ma'am notes. What is there in the bygoud? There are certain points about software engineering, 5 or 6 points. You will write that. Then you have 1A, explain software engineering code of ethics. For this, you will have page number 12. In page number 12, you have 4 points. I think someone who sent me had missed this. Confidentiality, competence, intellectual property rights, and computer misuse. You have to write this and you have to write ACM IEEE Code of Ethics. That is in page 13, which is there. Along with that, you will write 2 or 3 lines what is ethics or whatever you want to. Fine. But minimum these 4 points and this IEEE Code of Ethics should be there. Page 12 and 13. Answer. Shall I go to the next one? 1B. 1B, what are the attributes of a good software? It is there in page 6. It is in a table. Essential attributes of a good software. You will write that. Explain the key challenges of facing software engineering. It is in page 8. That is general issues that affect software is heterogeneity, business social change, and security and trust. So that is for 1B. Shall I go to the next one? Second question you have is explain an insulin pump control system with schematic and activity diagram. Go to page number 17. Page 17. In page 17, you have figure 4, figure 5. Both of them are a must. After that, you will write a paragraph about what this insulin pump control system does. Okay? 4 and 5 figures along with the explanation. Page 16 and 17. Next, you have 2B. 2B is page 99. Actually, this came from, I think I've clubbed this question. That's the only reason. Explain the requirements engineering process with a neat block diagram. Requirement engineering process heading is there, page 99. For that, there is a spiral model view. You have to write that figure and explain requirements engineering process. Am I clear? Shall I go to the next question? For second one, sir, 2B, 2B page number 99, 99 and 100. Third one, explain software process models, waterfall and incremental. So for this, page 28. Till now, I would have never gone to this extent to tell what to write. But now you people are, okay. Software process models, waterfall model. In page 28, it starts and 29 is there. But the figure of that is figure 1, the waterfall model. Figure is a must. I'm telling you, figure is a must everywhere. Figure 1, the waterfall model, and 28 and 29. You have to write. Incremental model, figure 2 in page 31, and the explanation for that. Fine with it? 30 and 31 incremental model. Shall I go to the next question? Fourth one. Bohem spiral model. Bohem spiral model, page 36, 37. Yeah, I'm sorry. Page. It's not 36, 37. It was in a different textbook. Okay, 1 second. I will tell. How did I miss it? Sorry, it is 46 and 47. Page 46 and 47, figure 11. You have to explain it and write the diagram. Shall I go to the next question? Fifth one. See, write a neat with a neat diagram. It is explain the software design process activities in detail. Actually, it is software process activities in detail. Okay. So fifth one. See here you have go to page 34, and from 34 you have complete till 37. Okay. Process activities you have. It starts from software specification, software design and implementation, and software validation. Until software evolution, it is nothing but 40, 41. So page 34 to 41. Ma'am, how much is there? See, it is your job to pick important points or what is there in the notes. You please take it and write. But remember, there are four things here. For specification, there are four main activities, okay? Like feasibility, requirement elicitation, and requirement specification and validation. There is a diagram. So figure 4, figure 5, and figure 6 and figure 8. Please note down figure 4, 5, 6, 8. You should compulsorily write it down, and data, the explanation regarding it is as good as that figures. Okay. So you should by heart those figures and you should know the headings. Rest you can write it on your own if you have listened to the class. Did you get it? ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. Okay. Did you get the fifth one? Yes. Can I go to the next question? Sixth question, you have feasibility study. See, feasibility study is in 35th page. Okay. There is only 2 or 3 lines about it. You can write it. You can go through the PPT. Huh? Functional and non-functional requirement, you have it in page 84 and 88. Functional requirements in 84 and non-functional requirements in 88. Next, you have domain requirements. Domain requirements, there is no as such in your textbook in ninth edition. I think it was there in the previous editions, I don't know, but it has been there in your question paper. That's the reason I have given that. You can go through slide 48 and 49 within my PPT. Okay, I've shared my PPT, right? Or maybe I'll share that PPT, any PPT which will have domain requirements, you can write that with from the PPT. Okay with this? Excuse me. Next you have is seventh one, requirement elicitation and analysis process. It is in page 100 to 108. This also very big question, ma'am. This much can we write? It is so much to write. I will tell you. Let me finish these questions first. See, in requirement elicitation, it starts with something like requirements discovery. Okay. Activities they have given, there is a diagram, figure 13. The requirement elicitation and analysis. You have to write that figure. After that, you have main points, requirements, discovery, classification, and about that figure they have explained. After that, they have given discovery, requirements, discovery, interviewing, scenarios, and use cases. Ma'am, should I write it all? Yes, you have to write it all. I would, oh, ma'am, this is too much what you are asking. I would require you to write requirements, discovery, and interviewing full. There is a reason why I'm asking you to write. But scenarios and use cases and ethnography, you can cut short and write it. Why is this so, ma'am? Most of the times in for your examination, interviewing has come many number of times. Okay, and requirements discovery also has come up many number of times. So those two are, if you don't write it, you will not remember it. That's the reason I want you to highlight those two concepts, and the other three, you can write a paragraphs and you can leave it up. Reason being that if you're, I mean, even if it comes, it will not come for full marks like 8 or 10 marks. That's the reason. Okay. Next, you have 8A. Explain the structure of software requirements document and write a structure for requirement document suggestion in IEEE format, IEEE standard. This is page 93 and figure 7. It is a table. Exactly how it is you should write. And last thing you have is why requirements need to be validated. Explain the check made in the requirement validation. That is page 110. Fine with this? All of you? Now, after this, you have second module question 4. These questions are very straightforward. That is 4 questions. In the soft copy of your textbook, it is readily available and nothing too much to write. The same things are explained again and again. Okay, you can write it. Now, you might ask me, ma'am, functional requirements, okay, there is 2 pages, non-functional requirement 3 pages, right? But here 10 by 4, it is 2.5, right? Yes, 2.5 marks for 2.5 marks. Should I have to write so much thing? That is what the question is, right? All of you. See, define and explain feasibility, functional and non-functional requirements. Functional and non-functional requirements, you have literally 2 to 3 pages. Ma'am, for 2.5 marks, who will write 2.5 or 3 pages, ma'am? All of you listen. Because we have to give only 12 questions for your assignment, and it should be of 10 marks. I have put it here. But in examination, I know functional and non-functional requirements is a very important question. It might either come for 2 marks, it may come for 5 marks, or it may come for 8 marks maximum. I'm telling you, it might happen. Now, here, if you have written only for 2 marks, can you expand it and write for 8 marks in your examination? Can you? Whatever is there in your assignment book, half page, you will learn that and say, oh, this assignment book answers are very easy. What is there in the textbook or whoever has given the notes that is difficult? Let me read this one paragraph and go to examination. But in the examination, it may come for 5, it may come for 8. I'm telling you, the questions what I have given here for your assignment are all important question. But I can't tell you how many marks it will come for. The software requirements document also, it is a very important question. It may come for 5, it may come for 10 marks. So I want all of you to write the assignment completely. Don't check the marks. Whatever is there in the textbook regarding that topic, I want you to write everything. Even if it is for 1 mark, I want you to write 2 pages, whatever is there regarding that topic. Yes, it is difficult, ma'am. Yes, writing will take some time. Okay, fine. But if for examination, you will know how much you would have studied, and you have to write how much ever is required. See, this is not spoon feeding. This is not first standard or second standard kids, where this only question will come, I will write the same answer. No, that will not happen like this in this subject. Did you get it? And I have clubbed waterfall and incremental model. In examination, I'm telling you, either one waterfall model may come for 10 marks, or incremental model may come for 10 marks, or they may club like this, and they give it, they may ask you for 10 marks, both of them. It is your intelligence. When the marks is less, write less. When the marks is more, write more. So, in order for you to be prepared for all situations, I'm asking you to write everything. Now, did you understand why am I making you to write? Guys, respond. Your people are listening. Yeah. Yes, I agree. Your book will get over. Your hands will be paining, but it is worth that effort. And I would like everyone, the main tip for your exam is to pass in your examination. I'm telling you, second module is very easy, very less answers, you can write it. The first module and the remaining modules, it is easy, whatever I've taught you, but the problem is remembering it and reproducing it. See, in all the 8 questions what I have told you, everywhere there is a figure. Yes or no? I told figure, figure, figure. See, if you are writing any answer without your figure, no examiner will give you marks. Remember it. For waterfall model, without that figure, if you are writing 10 pages also, it is 0 only. Even whatever you have written is right. So, I would like you all to by heart the figures and have a little bit understanding. See, every answer is the figure and the explanation of that figure. So if you have by hearted the figure and once or twice if you have read the theory, you can easily write it in the exam. But if you think that I will by heart the theory also and go, that is not possible in essay. Did you get that? All of you? Am I clear? Someone had asked me, the subject is difficult to write, it is like a story. Ma'am, then how will we write in the exam? This is what you should do. You have to by heart the figures, learn them properly, read 2 or 3 times the text, and you have to reproduce the text. No matter what notes you have given, whatever you have done, it will not work out otherwise. Am I clear with this? Okay. So, shall I take the attendance and then I will let you people? Okay. I think only for 3 4 days. I think I don't know what HOD ma'am is have to check because your IA has been postponed, right? But I want all of you to write your assignments no matter what. Anyway, you have taken permission. Start writing your assignments. Fine. Now you are all clear about what you should write and how you should write for your internals. Ma'am, how will you correct our answer script in the internals? For me, for wherever figures I have told, it is a must. Without the figure, I'm not going to give you one single mark. After that, it depends upon your writing capacity. See, some people can convey the same thing in one line. The some people has to take around 10 lines to convey that. So please write the figure and try to explain it. Okay? Hmm? Answer your attendance. 1, 2, 2 is absent. Yeah, 3, 4. Hemant Reddy, wait. 6, 7. Yeah, 2 present I marked.
7 present, ma'am.
Okay, thanks. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 10, 24. Okay, absent. 25, 26, 26, absent. Okay, 27, 27, 28, 29, 30, 30, 31, 32, 32. Okay, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 40. Okay, 41, 42, 42 is absent. Okay, 43, 44, 45, 45, 46, 47. Okay, 45 marked the present. 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 52. Okay, 53, 54, 32. Wait, Chaitana. 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 59. Yeah, 47. Wait. When I'm calling some other name in between, if you just type your USN, at last I'll give you an option. 61 done. 62. 62 absent. 63, 64, 63 present. Okay, thanks. 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 80, 81, 81, 82, 83, 84, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 89, okay, 90, okay. Now, in between people, those who did not mark 24, 26, 27, 30, 32. Yeah, 32 is present. Okay. 40, 42, 47, 47, 52, 52 is absent then. Okay. 80, 84, 89, 90. So I will type if you want. 80 is present. Okay. So these are the students I have marked absent. Rest of you can continue writing your assignments. Okay. So shall I wind up the session? I'll be online for another 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes. If you have any questions or any doubts, you can post. Okay. Fine. Thank you guys.